Hey everybody, welcome to this channel. Today we want to talk about the next market crash 5 signs. Make sure to watch until the end of the video, because it's one of the most amazing hacks you have ever seen. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos and much more. A couple of years prior, if you could say how about we print cash, to make everybody rich, nobody would seriously view you. Yes, we can print cash, yet we ought to do that dependably. We can't haphazardly print cash and simply give everybody some money. That is not how the economy functions, leave alone free enterprise. Recollect when Andrew Yang proposed the UBI General Essential Pay, and individuals besieged him with billions of contentions for what reason that is never going to work. However, at that point 2020 resembles. Allow me to discredit these individuals. The Fed siphoned more than $3 trillion into the economy. The public authority disseminated money to conventional individuals. Everybody got their improvement checks, which they wound up spending on Amazon, purchasing pointless stuff. Well, not every person. By the day's end, a great many people needed to put food on the table somehow. That expected to cause immense expansion, right? However, it didn't, basically, until further notice. The Fed has been around for north of 100 years, and it has made a large chunk of change from that point forward anyway. 1 in every $5 was made last year. Tossing that much cash into the economy expected to make expansion, as well as excessive inflation. Have you seen pictures of individuals conveying packs of cash just to purchase bread, or children utilizing the money to mess about in Zimbabwe? That is the thing, that excessive inflation is so. For what reason was expansion somewhat more than 2% last year? For what reason does the Fed continue to print even though it realizes it can cause high expansion? How the Fed made the greatest monetary air pocket in history. When is this air pocket going to crash? And how could that be going to affect the securities exchange? We will address these inquiries and some more. However, before we do that, give this video a thumbs and let the calculation in on that you partake in our recordings and try to remark. And presently, we should get directly into it. The greatest monetary air pocket in history. We have effectively investigated how the economy functions in past recordings, yet how about we simply have a fast recap? The economy follows a cycle where it extends for a couple of years, then, at that point, it tops and gradually begins falling into a downturn, and the occupation of the central bank is to ensure that expansion doesn't rise too quickly when the economy is blasting by carving the stock of cash through exorbitant loan fees, for instance, and when it falls into a downturn. It ensures that the downturn isn't excessively difficult by flooding the market with modest cash to animate development. When financing costs are low, everybody hops in to acquire cash. Like in 2021, home loan rates were extremely low that everybody who saved enough for the initial installment took a montage to where financial specialists are cautioning us of another lodging bubble. So in the center of a pandemic, when many individuals lost their employment, battled to address charges, house costs are rising. Why? Since when an excessive amount of cash pursues too little products, costs increment, or the benefit of existing dollars fall. The number of houses in the market didn't change a lot. However, since such countless more individuals chose to take a home loan, the interest expanded, which is the reason costs expanded too. However, why would that be an issue? Each time we had an emergency, the Fed stepped in and saved the economy by siphoning trillions of dollars into the economy, or bringing loan fees down to the absolute minimum. It did that last year. It siphoned trillions more back in 2015 to keep the economy from falling, and the emergencies before that. So a few specialists accept that we are living in an air pocket that will eventually explode and take down with it the whole economy. Investigate this outline. Since we have deserted the highest quality level in 1971, expansion has been ascending through the rooftop. It's ascending, consequences are damned, and with more improvement charges that diagram will rise quicker, particularly when the Fed siphoned into the economy more than $3 trillion this year. A solitary US dollar today worth only 4% of a dollar in 1914. $100 in 1914 is comparable in buying capacity to about $2,615.82 today, an increment of $2,515.82 north of 107 years. This implies that the present costs are 26.16 occasions higher than normal costs starting around 1914. Will that air pocket burst for the current year 1 year from now? A long time. I don't have a clue, and nobody realizes it may very well never happen. The Fed effectively kept the expansion at around 2 to 3%. It very well may have the option to do that for an additional 100 years. And what happens a long time from now isn't something we ought to be too stressed over at this point. In any case, we should see whether the securities exchange is exaggerated today, since, in such a case, that it will crash, or possibly. We will observe a remedy. Will the financial exchange crash? When the financial exchange smashed last year, for what reason did it abruptly bounces back and begins rising? Because the central bank brought revenue down to zero and began purchasing securities. Security is a piece of paper that an administration or an organization gives that says, assuming you purchase this paper, I will owe this much cash in addition to revenue. Imagine a scenario in which the premium is 0%. I surmise everybody would need to get that sort of a credit. The Fed, as a rule, purchases government securities to help the public authority fundraise. However, in WAC 2021, the Fed by implication began purchasing corporate securities. This implies organizations could abruptly acquire billions of dollars at very nearly 0%. So regardless of how terrible the emergency is, these organizations could get cash free of charge to endure. The issue that was that the Fed even purchased garbage securities, which imply that it began crediting cash to organizations that expected to fail, however endure, because the Fed provided them with a large chunk of change. Contemplate what happens when the Fed quits giving them cash. They will fail or possibly be less beneficial, which will drive financial backers away, which will push their stock costs to fall. At the end of the day, the securities exchange is loaded up with exaggerated stocks right presently, yet that is not every one of the Fed even bought obligations of the biggest organizations in the market like Apple, Microsoft, the home station, etc. That is one of the principal motivations behind why the financial exchange rose drastically. You don't need to be a virtuoso to get what happens when the Fed quits purchasing corporate securities or raising loan costs. That is causing expansion. However, the Federal Reserve is all right with expansion considerably higher than 2%, since, in such a case, that it didn't step in to save the economy, the downturn might have effectively transformed into a downturn. It would have taken us significantly longer to escape. The emergency. Expansion is terrible, yet what you realize, what's more crushing than expansion, is emptying. When costs begin going down, that appears as though something to be thankful for. Right, your cash begins turning into a more important method for going through your cash today, when it will be more significant tomorrow, and that is the issue. All things considered, everybody will begin saving. At the point when nobody spends, the economy will additionally get into an emergency. That is the reason it was vital for the Fed to step in and flood the market with modest cash, because during emergencies individuals are reluctant to spend, since nobody is sure with regards to tomorrow. At the hour of composing, these content loan fees are still between 0 to 0.25%, yet that won't be everlasting once everybody returns to work and we arrive at crowd insusceptibility. The Fed will gradually raise financing costs, and the securities exchange will likely disintegrate. I wouldn't be assumed in case every one of the organizations that endure because the Fed bought their useless securities to fail consistently, and the best 10 organizations that make very nearly 1/3 of the S&P 500 to dial back. It's hard to anticipate what will happen tomorrow, yet the current organization is centered around another improvement bill, so the market will presumably continue to ascend basically until the late spring. On the off chance that an amendment would happen, it will presumably be in the second piece of the year, or possibly not this year. because the market doesn't follow any rationale regardless of whether I raise 1,000 intelligent contentions why the market is exaggerated. The market may take a unique bearing, yet it doesn't damage to be prepared for such an accident. Assuming you have partaken in this video, you will most certainly partake in this custom playlist that I have made explicitly for you that has our most well-known recordings on business, contributing, and the financial exchange that might conceivably transform you. Furthermore, presently offer this video the go-ahead that it merits, and try to buy in, assuming you haven't done that yet. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and like our video to support us. And turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos. See you at the next video.